Hey, you guys. Just trying to check my setup. I'm in my office, my homeschool office. So I just want to pull up the live on my laptop. I have my laptop right here. So I'm going to pull it up so that I can see and also give people a chance to come. I had a request on my last video to do a live, and I thought it might be fun to start the day with you guys. I don't know how many people are actually up at this time. I don't know how many people are watching, but if you're watching, please say hello and let me know who you are and where you're watching from. Let me see. Okay, there I am. So I'll make sure I have the sound off on my laptop. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm enjoying these lazy summer mornings. Please let me know who you are and what and where you're watching from. Welcome to my channel. My name is Natasha. Uh, I am happy to have you here. I just wanted to check in. I just recently released a video touring this room that we're sitting in. This is my home office where my girls and I will be doing school. We're going to be homeschooling independently this fall. And I live in the state of Delaware, where it's very easy to homeschool. There aren't a whole lot of restrictions. And so I'm really excited. So if you're interested in that, please check out that video. I go in detail. I take you all around the room. I show you the kind of systems that we're using and the supplies that we picked up. But more than anything, I know a lot of people are kind of thrown into this working with your kid at home impromptu with everything that's going on. People are homeschooling, but I wanted to share what it's like for us because we've been homeschooling all along, but maybe not as independently as we're planning to work in the fall. I also did a video about what made me make the decision to go independent because up until now, we've been working with an umbrella school, which is kind of like a situation where, you have a school. You want to come say hey? My daughter just came in. This is my youngest,
Hi.
Rayma. She's 10. She's going into sixth grade in the fall. Yeah. So she just wanted to come say hello to you guys. But but as I was saying, uh up until now, I've worked more so with an umbrella school. I'm calling it umbrella school. I'm calling it an umbrella program, but I'm sure people have different names for it. It's kind of like a hybrid situation where, you can sort of take your classes a la carte if you want. You might decide that you're homeschooling for the most part on your own, but then you go to this umbrella for one subject. You might want to do your sciences there, or you might want to do math there, or you might want to take drama there, where so that there could be like a play experience, or you might want to do arts and crafts there. People do it for or some kind of sport. People use them for a number of reasons, and typically these schools are made up of students that are homeschooling or students who were in school but they want to make the shift to homeschooling, but the parent doesn't want to do it all by themselves. You can also use these schools where you are working independently, but they kind of assess your plan and keep you accountable and you check in with them periodically. Or in some cases, you can use these schools where you follow their curriculum and their program in its entirety. And then when your kid is done, they get a diploma from that program. And so it can work where the kid is going 1 to 2 times a week to the school and having classes in person. Or in our case, we were going once a week. And then once a couple of times a month, they would have lab an additional day. And I was actually teaching at that school. And so when all of this happened, it was a lot of work to shift things online with the three classes that I was teaching. I was teaching two high school level classes and one seventh grade English class. And so it was a wonderful experience for me learning wise, but it just took a lot. And I noticed that it was kind of hard for me to stay on top of supporting my kids the way I wanted to. And it wasn't ideally how I wanted to work as a homeschooler with my kids. And the light bulb just kind of went on toward the end of the, complete lockdown. I just realized, wait a minute, I'm homeschooling. I don't have to wait to see what the state is saying about if school is going to the end of the year or not. I'm homeschooling. I don't have to decide how I'm going to administer finals this year based on what the school is telling me they want to do. I'm homeschooling. The whole reason I'm homeschooling is because I want to be in control and make those decisions myself. And not only that, it's a lot of work. It was a lot of work to teach the classes. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's going to be a lot of work to homeschool independently. And so I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'm doing a lot of work anyway. There's no reason why I can't work that hard for myself. So you guys, I see two people in here. I see people in here, but I don't see anything in the chats. The whole purpose of the live for me, the thing I love the most is the back and forth interaction. So please, even if you just say, hey, let me know who you are so that we can interact. Or something. What do you think? Do you think it's crazy? Because I know that with the distance learning, there have been parents that are just like, there's just absolutely no way. There's no way I would want to do this of my own free will. And so we've kind of been slipping into a nice routine this summer. I typically get up in the morning, you guys, and the house is quiet, which is a lot for me to enjoy when you live with a household of seven people, and the adults are working from home, except for my daughter who's been nannying until she gets ready to leave to go dance full time with the company that she's about to join in a couple of weeks. She's the only one that leaves the house. So everyone else is in the house working from home. And so there's always a lot of movement. There's always a lot of people coming up to you and wanting to hang out, wanting to talk, needing something. And so I love the mornings, you guys. And let me show you. I'm going to take you into my kitchen because I wanted to talk about morning routines for this video. And I just want to show you that I've implemented some habits to kind of try to help me do things like get my water in. You see this? Yeah, it's like 8 water bottles, you guys. And I usually don't consume this much water the rest of the year. But in the summer, with it being so hot and with me being outside in my garden so much, I find that I need a lot of water. I need more water. So I added an additional 2 bottles. But what I do, you guys, is I literally take these water bottles down. These are 20-ounce water bottles. And I line them up. Like I've already done it this morning. So that's why the lids are on all of these. All of these water bottles are full. And I've already had 2 already this morning. But part of my routine is literally to get up, get all the water bottles lined up on my counter over here. In the morning, I get all the water bottles lined up on my counter, and I put a pinch of Himalayan salt for the electrolytes, because if you drink a lot of water, you pee out a lot of salt. And I literally fill up all those water bottles. It's the most calming thing. You would think it would be annoying, but I find it to be very calming to literally stand there by the refrigerator every morning with the house so nice and quiet, fill up all my water bottles. You might ask, well, why do you need 8 water bottles? Why don't you just refill your water bottles? I used to think I was getting all my water in by refilling my water bottles, but I noticed that, I wasn't refilling them as often as I thought I was. And so I was watching somebody's YouTube channel and they talked about how the way they make sure they get their water in is to use this kind of a system, because when you don't drink all of your water, the full bottle will still be sitting there. And you could literally see the ones without the lids or the ones that you drank. So it really helps me to track my water. And the fact that I do it all in the morning means that if I have a busy day, it's really easy for me to snatch however many bottles of water I need if I'm going out to do essential shopping or whatever. If I have some kind of commitment, I can just bring the water that's already filled with me. And as a woman who is going through perimenopause and trying to balance my hormones and dealing with, you know, too much estrogen, okay, we know that plastics give off a lot of xenoestrogens. And when I was seeing a natural specialist, a naturalist, she really encouraged me to reduce my use of plastics. And so I tend to avoid the plastic water bottles unless I'm on a trip or, in a pinch. And for the most part, I refill my steel bottles. Or if I have to buy a bottle, I look for a glass bottle. I try to do that as much as possible because I'm in perimenopause. And so that's been working really well for me. So I'll get up, I'll fill up the water bottles. The first thing I do when I get up, you guys, is I put on some workout clothes. So I'm wearing, like, workout shorts and a tank top. Even if I don't have a plan about what I'm gonna do to work out, you guys, I have the clothes on. So that the minute I get a chance to do something, I do it. And these days, my preferred thing to do is walk through my development. A lot of people are out there doing that. I get out there early in the morning and do that. I also keep these light weights in here since it's so hot and the coldest place in our house is the basement. The kids have commandeered the basement, so I've brought up my weights, like the ones that I use the most for my workouts. Yeah, these are light weights. I'm not trying to get buffed or nothing, but this adds the right amount of resistance for me when I'm working out. And so I have these in my office now, and I can just run through the video right here. I like HasFit. I like HasFit on YouTube. They have a massive library of videos. If you're interested, I have a busy mom workout playlist right here on my channel that shows some of the videos that I'll use, and I'll stack them to get a full workout. And I'm always adding to that playlist. I just started that. So there's so much more on the actual channel that I use. But I would encourage you guys to go out there and go check out that playlist. So I run through my exercise routine, and at the same time that I have the exercise video going, I love to listen to Todd White on YouTube. He's not a YouTuber per se. He's a preacher, a teacher, a gospel teacher, and what I'll do is I have him playing in the background. I have Todd White playing in the background while I'm doing my exercise, and then after that's done, I will sit at this desk with my Bible and my cup of iced coffee, you guys, and my cup of cold brew. Let me show you guys my cold brew system. I've been making cold brew, and it is so good that I don't even think about going to Wawa and buying their cold brew, even though that's still good. But let me show you the brand I'm using. I don't like dark roast, you guys, but for cold brew, they recommend that you use dark roast, but I've been using this. I like organic coffee since I drink so much of it. And I've heard that coffee is heavily sprayed. So I like a Colombian, which is a medium roast. And these are the whole beans. And so I literally grind these beans myself with this coffee grinder that I got my husband for Father's Day. And it's so easy, you guys. The process is so easy. I bought this glass jar, this massive gallon. Can you see it? You see this? This massive mason glass jar. It's a gallon. Okay. I bought that at Walmart. There's a lid that goes on top of it like this. And what I will literally do, the recipe to make that much coffee is 3 cups of beans. You basically grind the 3 cups of beans. And what I do for easy cleanup is I put the ground beans inside of this cheesecloth, and I tie that up like a giant tea bag, and I put it in that glass mason jar that I was showing you guys. This is my salmon that I'm defrosting. Yeah, I put it in this glass mason jar and fill the water all the way up to the brim. And I put it in the refrigerator all day, overnight. I tend to make the cold brew in the morning, and then it's ready the next morning. Yesterday, I let it go even longer. And this batch is nice. So I guess you can let it steep longer. They say at least 14 hours. And so I'll come in here, y'all, and I gotta show you my mugs because I have issues. I love mugs, you guys. And I have a massive mug collection. But these are all habits. I have a big collection. Some of them are probably in the dishwasher. But these are all habits that I noticed that like help me to stay on track. And so, you know, not to be OCD, but I'll literally drink my cold brew in the same mug. And this is a small mug because I still practice intermittent fasting. So I drink my coffee black. I don't put anything in it so that it doesn't break my fast. I still do 24. So check out that video. That's one of the most popular videos on my YouTube channel. It's a good one about why I decided to fast, do the 24 fasting window instead of the 16/8. At this point, I do that Monday through Friday. I break that fast on Friday, and then I don't fast Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at all. And so I'll drink that coffee, and something about, you know, the routine. Like some mornings I get up and I'm out of it. Like I'm out of sorts. Like I'm in some kind of funky mood, or, you know, we're all stressed out. We have our moments of being stressed out in the situation that we're in right now, you guys. And so what I'll tell myself is just follow the steps. You know, sometimes I don't, you know, I feel some kind of way. I don't even want to get out of the bed. I feel some kind of way. But having established these habits and these routines, I find that all I have to do is take the first step. And since, you know, I have this thing that I do, I find that once I take the first step, then I could take the second step, and then the third step. And then before I know it, I'm back on track again. Okay. And so, you know, I'll be filling up that water bottle. I'll be thinking, you know, thinking about, you know, what I dreamt that night, or starting a little bit of prayer with the Lord, what I want to do for the day, you know, and then I'll move into, you know, I'll drink one while I'm filling the bottles up, and I'll take the second one, you know, into the office with me to do the routine. If it's raining, like today is a rainy day, so I'm going to have to do what I'm going to do in here, you know, or I'll take the bottle with me and go out and walk. And I'll do the walk, and then I'll pray while I'm doing the walk. And then if I come back and I want to do some weights, I'll do that while I listen to Todd White. And then after that, it's time for that coffee in that cute little mug, that cold brew that I made. And so that makes a concentrated version of coffee. And so I end up having to water that down. I end up watering that down almost by half. That's how strong it is. Okay, so I sit with that at this desk with my Bible, and I've been studying the book of Ephesians, and it's a very short book in the Bible. And so I typically read the entire book of Ephesians, every morning that I'm doing the study. And I've also added a study about, the words of Jesus. I really wanted to go through the Gospels and see what Jesus himself has actually said and what that means for me and what that means for our world and what that means for eternity. And so I've been, really looking into his words. And so I do that on top of looking through Ephesians. And then after that, you guys, it's time for me to get on track with the light summer schooling that we're doing. I don't know if you guys just let your kids be completely free in the summer. That has never really worked for us. I find that if I don't give them any structure at all, they complain about being really bored and really kind of expect me to entertain them all summer long, which we do enjoy doing some fun activities together. But I don't think it's really my role as a parent to keep my kid entertained, 24/7, especially after school. During the school year is such a big part of their life. And so, especially now with so many things being on hold and things not being open, I find that having some kind of routine and some kind of structure for them that also includes learning is very important. Okay. And so, just a little bit of schoolwork is just enough for them to be creative during their free time and not be quite as demanding. And also, it also, I notice, helps their mind not to go 100% to I need to be entertained, and that's all I should be. I should be experiencing entertainment all of the time. And so we do really light summer schooling. So light for us means that, my husband's a mathematician. If he wasn't a mathematician, I might pick different things. But, I don't like them to forget the concepts the way a lot of kids can over the summer. And so we do some light math. So after I finish doing my Bible study, I'll come in here and I'll grade whatever light math they did for me the year before. So my 16-year-old, well, she's going to be 15, sorry. She's doing algebra 2 next year. And so we started it over the summer, and she uses Math UC. So this is my instructor manual, because before I started this live, I was about to grade her math. And so basically, she just does one page, you guys. She does one page a day, and I literally come in here, put my glasses on, and the first thing I do after I do my Bible reading is I grade her math to see how she did. And the rule is with Math UC, I think there are about 5 or 6 rounds of worksheets that they do to kind of practice and support what they've learned. Okay, so she didn't do that right. I might have to. Okay. To kind of practice, I can't do the video and do the grading at the same time, but so what the rule is, if she gets to the point where she's mastered the material, meaning that she's able to do the whole thing completely right for the most part, then she can move on to the next topic. Okay, and so that's an incentive for her to do it accurately and to do it well. But with her, we're already starting to work on attitudes, okay? Because, to go from working with the umbrella school and all the activities that she was involved with, it was less like homeschooling than I would say it's ever been with any of my other kids in the past. So to move to the new way we're going to be doing things in the fall, and the level of work she had before was a high level of rigor, a lot of stress, a lot of studying, a lot of organizing to try to get all your work in. So the mentality there was I gotta get through the work. I gotta hurry up and finish these tasks. I have so much to do. The goal is just to get done. With homeschooling, we have a lot more flexibility. I'm only working with her, so I don't have the kind of pressures, and my other daughter, so I don't have the kind of pressures that a teacher might have with a classroom full of kids with deadlines to be able to to grade the work and turn it over quickly. And so I want to foster a different kind of attitude in the fall. And I'm starting to do that right now with our summer routines. And so, as she's working through this, like part of the reason why, she wants to get it 100% right so she can move to the next topic is let's just finish. Let's just do this. Let's just move it along. I want a different attitude. I want the attitude that what we're doing this for mastery. We're doing this to master the concepts. And I'm trying to master the concepts for me. It's for me. Learning this is for me. Doing well at this is for me. It's for me, it's for application. It's not because somebody's going to be mad at me if I don't do it well. Somebody's going to breathe down my neck if I don't do it well. It's not about trying to get over, because if I try to get over, then the person that's losing out is me, because this is for me. And if I don't get it for me, and if my goal is not to be excellent at it for me, okay, then I'm the one that's missing out. And so I'm really working with my girls on attitude. When I say it's time, so we're doing math, light math, we're doing reading. My 14-year-old, she's going to be 15, the 10th grader, she's reading Oliver Twist. That was a good pick for her because she was going to be part of an Oliver Twist play. So I kind of sold her on reading the book because that play may come around again, and it never hurts to know the story really well. So she's reading Oliver Twist, and then my younger daughter is reading a different book. I saw the book yesterday, but I don't see it on her desk now, so she must be reading it right now. Yep, she's reading it right now. What are you reading? Come tell us what you're
Mystery
reading.
of the Roman Ransom.
Yes, they love this book. This is a good book, and it's actually, who's it by?
He
Henry Winterfield, and he has a whole
He
series.
has a lot of other books, and Anika really likes the first one before this.
Yeah, this is literally my fourth kid reading this. No, you're my fifth kid reading this. And they've all read it. And they all like it. And they're all different in their styles of what they like to read. And so she's reading that.
It's a really good book.
And for reading, I'm hands off. I just want them to stay on top of the reading and to actually be reading, but I'm not making them write anything. I'm not testing them on anything. I'm not quizzing them on anything. I just want them to read. So that's for the summer. During the school year, it's going to be different. So they're doing the light reading, and lastly, we're doing French. And I showed you guys my French curriculum. This is French 2. French 2 from Abeka. Now, I'm doing French 2 instead of French 1 because at the umbrella school, my daughter, my 10th grader, already did French 1. And even though it's a new curriculum, I think there could have been merit to start at the beginning of this curriculum because they have their own methods and systems that they use to teach the French and to practice it. It would have been nice to start at French 1, but I thought that would be discouraging to her because she would have had to redo a lot of the things that she's already done. So what I'm using the summer for is to just heavily review things from French 1, okay? And there's a whole section at the beginning of this book that has nothing but review. It has a quick summary of the main things they learned in French 1. And, I'm reviewing it. And that's pre-curriculum, because this curriculum comes with a schedule. And I haven't actually tapped into the schedule yet. And I think the first 4 weeks of the schedule is still review. So I'm doing review before the review. Okay. So that we'll be on the same page since we're using a different curriculum. And I added all these tabs. These tabs did not come with this book, you guys. This is a good tip for you. I bought these tabs at this one probably came from Walmart. I've also bought these kind of tabs at Staples, and it literally just has glue over here. It's like a sticker, and then you can write on the polka dotted part, and then you just stick it where you want in the book. Because I was getting really frustrated trying to remember where things were. And this kind of thing is something I've learned to do with homeschooling over the years. Just the time it takes to find stuff, and you're trying work with your kid, and you saw it during prep somewhere in the book, but you can't remember where you saw it. Organizing your stuff like this ahead of time just removes that level of stress. Excuse me. I need to swallow. But it literally removes that level of stress. And you guys, it's little things like that that could make or break it, because it just snowballs. Like, you get up, you're trying to work with your kid, they don't want to be here, they don't want to do school, you're frustrated because of their attitude, and then you're trying to show them something, you can't find it in the book, then so you're stressed out about that, and they're looking at you, you can't find what you're looking for, so you look like you don't know what you're doing, and so they don't have as much confidence in your ability to work with them. You see how it can all snowball. So I've learned to kind of do things like this to kind of offset some of that unnecessary stress that we can experience sometimes, when we're doing school. Don't forget to say, hey, no one's talking in the chat. No one's talking in the chat. Don't be shy. Don't forget to say, hey. So we do French, and I'm working with attitudes about that. I don't want to do French. It feels like school. I don't want to do it. So there's a whole attitude about school that we have to shake, that I have to be aware of. This bad attitude about school. School takes so much time. School is boring. School is stressful. I just want to get through it. I just want to finish. I'm already dealing with these attitudes right now during the light summer schooling, and I've been talking to the girls. I'm their mom, so there's another element that I have to deal with, the element that they're very comfortable with me, they're very safe with me. When we used to do school at the umbrella school and they had those teachers, they might have been feeling the same kind of things with them. I don't want to do school, I don't want to be here, this is boring, this is taking too long, your explanation is too long-winded. They might have had those same attitudes, or I don't understand what you're saying, doesn't make sense to me, it's so frustrating. But they know, just from being socially competent, they know that they can't just be making a crazy face to that teacher. They can't just say these things that they're feeling to this outside teacher. They can't just get up and walk outside of the classroom in the middle of class. And so they know how to hold it in. They know how to, fake the funk, so to speak, with a stranger. But when they're home with you, when they're home with their parent, they might be, hi, Monique. Monique said the most challenging part of homeschooling is working on the attitudes and the disciplines. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you're their mom, they're comfortable with you, and they're letting you know exactly, what they're thinking and what they're feeling. And this summer, I literally sat my kids down and I told them, look, I'm human. I'm not going to be able to push through your bad attitude all year long. Every day you're showing up, you don't want to do it, you don't want to be here. I'm not going to be able to stay enthusiastic if this is going to be your attitude. And the kind of personality that I have, that's going to get on my nerves. I have zero tolerance for that. Okay. And so the first step to dealing with these moods and to dealing with these attitudes is to sort of kind of enter into a contract with your kid. Okay. And right now, with light summer schooling, this contract has been verbal. Okay. But in the fall, when we move into actual schooling, and when I did the tour, I showed this to you guys. This is very old. I'm going to stand this way so that you can see it. But, or you, I can try, let me turn this light off. This is very old. Okay, I don't know if you probably can't see it very well because of the lighting, but this is a giant piece of paper that my kids did years and years and years ago. Okay, is our class rules. Okay, the first day of class, we literally sat down. We literally sat down the first day of class and talked about what was important. What things did each kid think was important for us to get down and agree on to have a comfortable school environment, because we've always all sat around in the same room working together. Okay? And so they came up with things like wear your headphones. Okay? I have some kids that like to listen to music when they do school, or I even have one kid that will listen to a book on tape or Adventures in Odyssey, and somehow she's still able to concentrate and do her schoolwork. Personally, I don't care what your style is and what kind of background noise you need, as long as you're still able to produce and accomplish the work that you need to accomplish. Okay? But wear your headphones, because just because you want to listen to that doesn't mean your sibling that's sitting next to you or your mom that's trying to prep or do grading wants to listen to that. So they came up with this. I didn't come up with this. They came up with this and they wrote it on that poster up there. Okay? They wrote it, in their own handwriting. Okay? Another thing that they came up with, keep your hands to yourself. All right, school time is not the time to be trying to tickle somebody, trying to hit somebody. You know what I'm saying? They came up with that. Stay in your own space. Okay, this was a legitimately great. I mean, and the whole time they're coming up with this stuff, I'm praising them. Stay in your own space, because sometimes it's not a matter of somebody doing something on purpose, but you just might not realize how much you're spreading things around. Like our desk, you guys should check out my room tour, because I did a school room tour. That's the latest video that I released. Check that out, where I show you guys this room in detail and how I have things set up. But I wanted to show you that our desks are relatively close together. And you might not mean to, because like the printer is on my desk. So you might not mean to, like maybe you came to print, and you had all your materials to print, and you had a beverage you were drinking and a book you were carrying and the stuff you were printing, and you got done printing and you left some of your stuff on my desk. Okay, we're agreeing that we're going to be respectful of one another's space. I have my stuff set up on my desk a certain way. You might come and put your stuff on top of my stuff, and I might end up being stressed out because your book is covering some important note I left for myself. It can affect my day and my systems and my processes to get things going. So right off the board, we agreed that you're going to stay in your own space. Okay. It says don't yell or be a distraction. Don't take other people's stuff. Be kind and help each other. That's a big one, because in our homeschool, I really want to get out of the attitude, I'm only in this thing for myself. I'm just trying to get my work done. Don't bother me. Because we're still a family. We love each other. We work together. We help one another. We want one another to succeed. And I want that attitude in my schoolroom. Okay. And I think the way school is traditionally broken up. We like to keep the kids in their own age group so that they're working on the same thing. You do realize that that's because as a teacher, it's a lot easier for me to process through the material and to communicate if everyone's at the same developmental level, everyone has the same, relatively the same needs. That's why we have things organized that way. But in the video that I did where I did the tour, I wanted to reiterate that homeschooling is not school at home. Even though that's what we call it, it's not bringing your public school or your private school and trying to recreate that at home. We homeschool because it gives us a greater degree of flexibility to be able to tailor what we're doing to that particular kid's needs, that particular kid's strengths, that particular kid's weaknesses. And so I kind of had to break that every man for themselves kind of mentality, and also when you're working with multiple kids, to a certain extent, it is good to kind of group people together for things to kind of make things easier for you, the parent that's trying to teach so many different levels. And so I told my daughter, my 14-year-old, you're doing French with your sister. And she was looking at me like, how is that possible? She's never had any French. I'm up to French too. Plus I'm 14 and she's only 10. And I was getting all sorts of attitude about that, and I told her I'm only one person, and what does her age matter? The end goal is for both of you to be able to speak French. My expectation for her is going to be different from my expectation for you, but there's no reason we can't work together. And thankfully she's a very agreeable child, and so she got that, and she's been helping her sister with things that she doesn't know yet and supporting her. And I also pointed out to her, when you're learning a language, it helps if you have someone to practice with. It helps if you have someone to talk to, and your conversation isn't just happening between me and and even preparing our materials, because we spent a fair bit of time creating flip books for them to practice their verbs and their adjectives and conjugations and things like that, and so you guys, attitude is half the battle. And a lot of people, when they think about homeschooling, they're afraid that they're not academically capable of teaching their kids. Like they don't have the expertise, the academic expertise to teach their kids. But honestly, out of all the years that I've been homeschooling, which have been many, because my son will be 23 this year, and I homeschooled him all the way through until he went to college, okay? And he did very well. Of all the years that I've been homeschooling, I don't think I've ever heard of someone that stopped homeschooling because they weren't able to handle the academics per se. Like they didn't have the mental intellect to handle the academics, but the attitudes and the inability to get that under control will break your schoolroom down. 100%. And I know this is not specific to homeschool. It happens in public school. It happens in private school. Being able to maintain discipline and order in your classroom will make or break the class. And so that's what we've been working on while we're doing this light schooling, so that when it's time to do the heavy duty stuff, when we have multiple subjects that we're working on, when we have time constraints to get through the material, okay, we will have some of this stuff already under control. So with this light schooling, I'm kind of thinking about it as unschooling too. If you know the rhetoric of homeschooling, you will have heard when you pull your kid out of school, like a school format, like a public school or a private school, people like to go through something called unschooling, where you get rid of some of these ideas and ways of thinking about school. And you build up something new. And then there's also unschooling as a model of education, where it's kind of more student led. The learning is more student led. Now, I don't know that much about unschooling because that's not what I do, but I just wanted to reiterate that when I'm saying unschooling, I'm not talking about the philosophy of homeschool that's called unschooling. Um, I'm talking about the period of time where you have to break them of the more traditional methods that people use to school large groups of kids together. That's what I'm talking about. And so we've been kind of dealing with those things. And we're not there yet. Like, I mean, my mom, who's fluent in French, I was on the phone with her this morning, FaceTiming her. I do that very often to see how she's doing because I'm in Delaware, but she lives in New York City. And so, you know, I'm like, Grammy is fluent in French. We got to maximize on this. You know, I know I do French at 11 o'clock in the morning on a summer day, but we're talking to Grammy right now. Let's get some conversation in here. Let's do this thing. And I get so excited. Because I enjoy it so much. I get so excited, and my 10-year-old wasn't as excited, but she's the one that brought it up to my mom. Do you speak French fluently? Because she kind of shyly wanted to, enter into a little French conversation with her. But when I was all in, I dragged my chalkboard into the kitchen where we were talking, where we were FaceTiming. I, started writing things down. Say this sentence. Ask Grammy this, ask Grammy that. My 10-year-old was like, "Oh no, I didn't want it to turn into a whole lesson." And then my 14-year-old, my daughter, came down and she was like, "Oh no, I'm not ready for school. I don't want to do school now." And I just keep trying to remind her the way I've always done homeschooling is that learning is fun and learning is just part of our everyday lives. It's part of our lives. It doesn't have to be a 9 to 3 p.m. thing. It's learning is fun and it's part of our lives. And if we're spending this time right now doing French at 11 o'clock, which is the time we normally do it, we won't have to spend as long on it, or maybe we could get it all done right now. I wasn't able to get her in to actually participate in the conversation, but she was listening. And I think she still enjoyed the new stuff that my mom was sharing, because that's another thing I noticed with learning a language. Like, what you'll get from here is textbook stuff, but which is good. You'll have a textbook academic understanding of the language, but I want to get us to the level where, like, I'm not teaching my kids French so that they could be excellent at French writing and French grammar. I'm teaching my kids French because I want them to speak French fluently. I want them to be able to speak French fluently with real people. And so a lot of times in these books, you'll get a lot of expressions that people don't use anymore, because language is always evolving. And so we definitely want to be having conversations with real people that speak real French. So getting Grammy up speaking to Grammy, some of my cousins, like I have a lot of relatives that still live in Montreal, and the language of business where they are is French. They use both French and English. They speak French at a high level and English at a high level. And they write both. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, let's capitalize on that so that we're not coming up here and using terminology that's textbook, but real people don't talk like this. Real French people don't use some of these expressions anymore. And so I'm just really trying to encourage them with their attitudes and their moods. And, the tab thing, offsetting things that could stress me out unnecessarily. And, even testing my systems now during the light summer school phase. I can already see, oh yeah, the grade bins. Like, if watch my video on the schooling to see what I mean when I'm pointing at the grade bins right there, the plastic bins with the blue labels, where I share that system for how they turn work in for me to grade. Um, that's working really well. I mean, I did it last year, so I knew it was going to work well. But I did it for the umbrella school, but it's working just as well with the homeschool. I'm getting to test that out now before, right now, I'm only dealing with 3 subjects. I'm not dealing with all the subjects. And so this is a good time to test things out. I don't know how you guys feel. Do you feel like you don't even want to think about school? You don't even want to deal with school? I know. You just want it to be summer and you just want to relax. But, these things take time, and it's not a bad thing to start thinking about these things now that can make or break you in the fall when so much more is going on. There are going to be so many more things that you have to have in place in the fall than you have now. So, you know, I'm excited to be doing this already so that I don't get overwhelmed with it all in the fall. So, you guys, I wish I could have come on here a little bit later, but I'll be rolling with my French class and everything else that I'm doing with the girls. And I'm actually behind schedule on grading this stuff because my youngest daughter is doing 6th grade. And so I have to grade her sheet. And it's good for me to grade their sheet this early before they actually do the next one so that if there are any issues, I can catch it since the stuff builds and it spirals. And so that I don't have a kid that continues to make the same mistake for multiple lessons. I've had that. Ask me how I know. I've had that happen to me. And so it's very important to me to stay on top of the grading. I can kind of restructure what they're doing based on how they performed the day before. Or I might see, okay, she really has this. Let's move on. Let's move ahead. Okay. So, anyway, you guys, it's been good hanging out. I'm sorry that this probably wasn't a good time for the person that asked me to do the live because I don't think she was able to catch it. Uh, but I'm thinking about you. I'm praying about your girls uh, going to Cornell. Cornell is my alma mater. Both my husband and I have our degrees from Cornell University. I went there for undergrad, and my husband has a PhD from Cornell University. And so Cornell is near and dear to us. They're opening up in the fall, opening up fully. Um, and so I'm praying for your daughters. I'm praying for, the Spirit of the Lord to fall on that campus. We all need it. We all need it. It did fall on that campus when I was there. That was the life changing experience that I had, that I attribute to everything that's going on in my life. I built that foundation. God built that foundation in me when I was a student at Cornell. So I'm very grateful for those years. So I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you and your daughters, and I'm sorry that you weren't able to catch the live, but hopefully you'll enjoy the recording when it goes up. Okay. My Unfortunately, my daughter that's going to college, initially her school was going to do, they were going to alternate between having online classes and having classes in real life, and the dorms were initially open. But like last week, we got the news that they're going 100% online. So I'm a little disappointed from my daughter that she's not going to be having the campus experience yet. But she's only a freshman, and I told her it ain't over yet. You still have 4 years to make that experience. And so, it's not horrible. She shares a room with my oldest daughter who's leaving. She's moving to join a professional dance company. She's going to be leaving toward the end of this month, and then she'll be in that big room by herself. And I will set up a desk and a system for her that's comfortable, probably much more comfortable than a dorm would be. But I know she's disappointed about having that experience right away. But at least she'll be moving forward with her education. And we live very close to the university, so the commute won't be a hardship for us at all. So changes, you guys, changes in the fall. Changes in the fall. And my oldest son who lives with us is moving out in the fall also. He's gonna be moving in with moving into a house with his friends and doing his own thing. He's doing very well. I'm super proud of everything he's doing. I'm super proud of everything my oldest daughter is doing. And I'm humbled by everything God was able to do. Because when I tell you that I trembled through the process, it was 1 year at a time with homeschooling. We made the commitment every year. And we said every year, you know, if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. And every year we were able to move forward. And so it's a real blessing to be on the other side of 3 kids already. I have 5, I have 4 daughters, and my son is the oldest. Okay. And so it's really a blessing to be on the other side and see the different paths that my kids have taken, but they've done well. They know how to think. They write really well. They know how to navigate their way through things. And it helps that, I had a hand in it in homeschooling them. It worked really well. It's continued to work really well for us, And so I'm about to jump in again. I'm about to jump in. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I have so many homeschool videos on my channel. This channel has been around for a really long time. Don't be fooled by the low views as of late. This channel has been around for a long time. I have all sorts of homeschooling videos. One of my favorites is the homeschool burnout series that I did on how to avoid burning out. And I talked, some of the stuff I talked in the video today, I talked in detail about that. And I do have my channel organized according to playlists. So if you go on my playlist and check out the homeschool burnout series, you might find that really helpful. I just want to also encourage the moms out there who are distance learning. Homeschooling was never your thing or your choice, but you now find yourself in that, because I do know that some states are saying that the first couple of months of school will be online, and so those parents don't have a choice. I just want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you. Work on the attitudes. Do what you can do. Be consistent, be diligent. Make sure your kid understands that you're on their side. And make sure that they understand that you understand it's not business as usual, that we're in a crisis type situation. Things stink in a lot of ways. But let's focus on, the positives that we can draw out of it. It's one day at a time. Ask for help if you need help. Adopt the attitude that you're not necessarily the expert, but you already went through this once yourself. You did sixth grade, first grade, second grade, third grade, high school yourself once, and you can do it again. And I've always tell my kids, the gift of homeschooling is learning how to learn, teaching yourself how to learn. And as the teacher, I'm even modeling that with my kids. Okay. I don't remember all this stuff from when I was in school. And even after teaching it, 3 or 4 times already, I still might not remember. I'm going through perimenopause. You know what I'm saying? So I still might not remember, but I can read. I can watch a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? I can ask people that are good at it questions. I can get the information that I need. And y'all have Google. We didn't even have Google. You know what I'm saying? The resources are out there to help. And I think if we can get a grip on the bad attitude, and even me as a teacher, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. This is the worst. I don't want to be in this situation. Well, I'm in the situation. Okay. And it's up to me to get a hold of my attitude and to lead my attitude and do what needs to be done, because nobody cares about my kid more than me. Okay. Nobody loves my kid more than me. And we can't let these kids sink in this situation. Okay, we got to do what we got to do, and I'm hoping to get to the place where I'm able to not only just help my own kids, but offer up some help to some other kids. I'm really, really concerned, you guys, about those kids in public school that were already falling behind already anyway. The kind of kids that don't have the kind of support at home that I can offer to my kids at home. Okay, the kind of kids that you might go volunteer in some tutoring program to be a part of when those programs were abundant. I'm really concerned about those kids. And I'm already thinking about, after I have get my own kids settled and under control, what can I do? How can I offer my support? How can I offer my resources to that parent that's working at Walmart, who has a kid that's home trying to distance learn? Okay. Even if they're old enough to stay home, these kids kind of need the support to stay consistent and to stay diligent. I mean, you yourself as an adult struggle to stay consistent and to stay diligent, and to get through your work and not to be on Instagram instead of doing your work. How much more do our younger kids, even our high school students, need our support to stay consistent? Okay. And I'm always over here trying to figure out, and I'm praying about, Lord, what can I do? What's my part? What can I do to lend support in this situation that we're in? Because we can't let our kids drown. We can't let our neighbor drown. We can't be like them folk in the Titanic who was in the boat watching everybody else drown. Because unlike them, we have another boat we might be able to push their way. Okay, and that's how I'm trying to think these days. Okay, so you guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I'm gonna go now because I really need to get this grading done. But it's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, I do go back and check my comments regularly. So even though we won't be engaged in conversation during this live, if you do watch the video again and you have a question or comment, leave it in the description down below and we can keep the conversation going. So be blessed, you guys. Bye.